and only DNVR. Two goes out to Zac, RK, and the bar. Three for Mr. B in that old trophy case. Number four we're still waiting for, well, bring on the chase. Out on the field at Mile High, Broncos win is our desire. Coupled with Breck, Brew, and a friend, bleed orange and blue to the bitter end. Come and join us, DNVR. We are DNVR.
We are DNVR, and we are live from Studio A here at the DNVR Bar on a chilly but beautiful day in Denver. Like, I thought it was, I looked at the weather, I was like, oh, it looks cold.
Yeah.
Then I walked in from my car, and I was like, oh, it's actually pretty nice out.
Well, I was the complete opposite. I looked outside today and said, it looks nice. I took a step out and said, I'm going to go put a flannel on.
Wow, perspective is everything, right? Because my original thought was it's cold. And then I went outside and it was above my expectations.
Right.
Your original thought was it was warm, and you went outside, it was below your expectations.
Wait, so how does this relate to the Broncos? I feel like there's something to relate here.
Well, the A today stands for A+,
Oh.
which is a potential grade you could get. But grades are all based on perspective, at least in this specific category, because it's not like a yes or no answers test.
Right.
By the way, were you someone who had like big Scantron anxiety?
In terms of filling in the bubble?
No, when at least I had some teachers who you hand in your tests,
Yeah.
and they ran that damn thing right through the Scantron, right in front of you, and everyone knows however many times you hear those are all wrong answers.
You went to Boulder School, so it makes sense they would just have those Scantrons right there. Denver public schools didn't have that, so that never happened to me.
They had maybe one Scantron.
Right,
for the
exactly.
School. The
Maybe for the whole district or something. That's pretty horrifying.
Yeah.
And so if it made a noise that was wrong.
Right, because it puts a little dot on all the wrong ones.
And unfortunately, the way you just described it when they ran yours, it was just
big time. It sounded like a goddamn sledge or a jackhammer. Just.
And then do you sync? Does the face turn red?
Usually, it was at the end of class, that you're filling out your Scantron. So I would just walk out, just don't make eye contact with anyone. Just walk right out of the room.
Run out before you hear all the noises.
Like you dropped a grenade or something.
Right,
just give it, and just cover your ears and run away. I bet teachers in 2022 aren't allowed to do that anymore.
Actually, this is really random that we're talking about this. Cherry Creek schools, and this goes along with what you're saying, Cherry Creek schools just decided either yesterday or today that they are no longer going to have valedictorians because they said that school isn't about ranking people, it's about teaching people.
I like that.
Yeah.
You could make a case that's like participation trophy energy.
Yep, exactly.
But I hate the way that when you're in school, everyone's like, what's your GPA? It's so lame. Just try to graduate. That's all that matters.
There you go. D's get degrees.
Yes.
We're going for degrees here.
Actually, do they?
That's a saying.
I was always C's. I was about the C life.
It doesn't work as well, though.
C's get degrees. It rhymes just as well as D's get degrees.
But it's DD.
So that's rhyme and alliteration.
So what would C be? C's... communicate? That doesn't make sense.
C's pass classes?
There you go. Okay. Yeah. I like that.
All right. Yeah, that was that was definitely my motto in college. A lot more B's in high school.
Okay.
Because again, you there's so much pressure. You got to get this GPA to get into CU or whatever.
And
college is
just graduate.
Just find a way to get through. So, speaking of grades, we are going to grade all of the Broncos free agency moves here today. And this is interesting. Obviously, anyone could be like, how could you grade it before they play? Great question. You can't. But we're going to do it anyway, based on what we think. Which, thank God, actually, I think it would have been better off if teachers just got to grade based off of what they thought I might do.
Well, because you're the vibes, Matt. You're Vibes Analytics 2022.
Nice guy,
right.
Participates in class,
Right.
seems generally bright.
Yeah.
He seems like he would get an A.
And then you're done. You don't even have to do the work.
Boom, in and out. So let's do that. Let's do what I wish my teachers would have done and predict the grades that these guys are, or grade what you think it's worth. And we have to start here with the news. Actually, there's a little news update here. Let's go to Zach in sports with the news.
Well, thank you, Ryan, in weather. Yesterday, we found out from Mike Kliss that Randy Gregory, the guy who just signed a 5-year, $70 million contract, had arthroscopic shoulder surgery just a few days ago. Let's break it down. Send it back to Ryan in weather.
Oh, Zach, you don't like to hear that. It's certainly not ideal, and makes you wonder if that may have had something to do with the delayed press conference that sent ripples throughout Denver.
Ripples as in the raindrops that were falling yesterday.
Yes, exactly.
But you're right. Absolutely. That had something to do with the delay. We were actually, speaking of weather, we were told that the delay was weather related. And I remember thinking, there's no weather that's going on here. But when George Paton says it, when Randy Gregory says it, when sources say it, you're just like, okay, they're just pushing something, whatever, I'll drop it.
Theory time. Sometimes when the weather gets a little bit colder, people's joints get a little achy, so it was weather related.
It wasn't
came to
a lie.
Colorado, it was a little colder, and he was like, "Man, my shoulder kind of hurts. What's going on here?" That's what caused the whole thing.
And then they found on the MRI that something was astray. And so what's interesting here, Ryan, and I want your take on this, obviously Randy Gregory didn't take a physical or wasn't the reason why he didn't pass with the Cowboys. There was that contract language. He moved on. Who knows what would have happened if it got to the physical point. Then he gets to Denver and he fails the physical. The Broncos could have said, you failed the physical and we're not signing you. We don't have to sign the contract that we agreed on because you failed the physical. Instead, they said, we want you. We want you bad enough that we're going to allow this surgery to happen. We're going to kind of waive this failed physical, and we're still going to give you the contract that we agreed upon. Is that the right thing to do?
You smell that? Smells like desperation.
And
I
thought you were going to say a pizza bet.
No. It smells like desperation. I don't love that. Gotta be honest, I don't love that. Now, for context, when people talk, you usually hear this about, the nicer way to put this is people say a knee scope. Instead of saying they had surgery on their knee, they said they had their knee scoped, which is just short for arthroscopic, orthodontic.
Right. Yes. Getting your teeth pulled.
Right. No, it's essentially they need to go in there and see if something's wrong. So it doesn't even necessarily mean something is astray or something is very wrong. It just means, hey, we need to go take a look at this. What's going on here? So we don't know necessarily if there was a repair. Do we know if there was a repair that needed to be made?
I don't know. The way it was phrased from Mike Kliss was that that it was to make it so he could play pain-free this year.
So it sounds like they had to do something while they were in there. And it's just, it feels desperate to me. They were late in the game on pass rushers.
Yep.
They got a guy at the last second. Remember, this wasn't, a clean signing. This was a little bit of a dirty signing. They had to sweep in late. And so that was already like they kind of were desperate to get Randy Gregory in the first place. And then they knew that if they sent him home, he was definitely going back to the Cowboys.
Yep.
And they were going to be without a pass rusher.
Yep.
Now, I think Chandler Jones signed. How much longer after the Randy Gregory signing did he sign?
Randy agreed with the Broncos on Tuesday, and Chandler, I think, signed on Wednesday.
Okay, so it was too late because I doubt they flew him in on Tuesday to come do that. And even then, it was probably the way these things work. Like, they were too far down the road with the Raiders. They didn't want to get into a bidding war with them.
Yep.
So, again, to me, it's like, here's our options. Get the shoulder fixed or don't sign a big pass rusher in free agency. I guess Vaughn was still out there.
Yep.
But
they were never interested in him.
Yeah.
So you're
because he got $20-something million a year.
Randy Gregory was 100% in the driver's seat on this because he had interest from many teams because he was the guy that immediately had an offer from the Broncos right when that Cowboys deal fell through. So he knew he felt wanted. They already missed out on Hassan Reddick. Randy Gregory, if they didn't get him, he was going somewhere else. You're right. Chandler Jones, it seems like he was already on the route to the Raiders, and they weren't interested in Vaughn. So I think it was very desperate. He was the guy that had the upper hand on the Broncos, and you don't like being put in that situation. You don't like it, and from everything we've heard, Randy Gregory was their number one pass rusher. So he went from number one, they love him, to, there's something wrong with him. We're going to convince ourselves that there's nothing wrong. And the way they're convincing themselves is he's going to be fine for the regular season, is what they're saying now. But Ryan, he's not going to be fine for April 11th, the start of the Broncos offseason workout program. He's not going to be fine for the start of OTAs, which will happen in May. He's not going to be fine this entire offseason. And the Broncos are going to push it as, it doesn't matter. He'll be fine by the start of the regular season. What we haven't heard is he'll be fine by the start of training camp. Now, maybe that'll be the case, but until he is on the field practicing every single day with no signs of this, it's a major concern for me because I've heard too many times these things just go under the radar. The Broncos sign an injury-prone player. He's going to be fine here. Randy Gregory's a very injury-prone guy. He's never played a full season in his career, and that's not even looking at the suspensions. That's looking at his injury history, so that concerns the heck out of me. And then also, remember Bradley Chubb? I know it was a little different, and we can go through many different players with this. Bradley Chubb had the bone spur.
Last year.
Yes, it's a really minor deal. It's just going to impact him this offseason. He's going to be back. He's going to be fine for the regular season.
Back for training camp.
Right. Wasn't back for training camp.
Nope.
He was back for one game before another issue occurred, and more bone spurs in that foot. This just, to me, and I know a lot of people in the comment section are saying arthroscopic surgery is really, really minimally invasive. If it was that minimally invasive, specifically this one, wouldn't he be back within 3 months?
Right. Again, we're not hearing necessarily the full story. I'm not saying they're keeping anything, but
super quick. They were keeping something 2 weeks ago when they said it was a weather delay.
Yes, they were. But what I'm saying is you can get a scope and be fine 2 weeks later, maybe even sooner.
Right.
Cinch it up, and as soon as that starts to heal, you're good to go. But clearly something needed to be done after the scope.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that was, I don't know how this stuff works. Did they need to remove cartilage? Was there fluid? Was there, something they needed to shave down? Any of that stuff, something had to be done. It wasn't just look in there, it's all good, get out and cinch it up. So I agree with the fact that, if someone gets a scope, it's not a big deal.
Right.
But he had to have surgery.
Right.
And so, again, I want to know this. And I'm not saying there isn't one. I wish Mace was here because he would probably be able to come up with one pretty quick. Who's had the best season after missing in the Broncos organization? Who has the best season after missing the whole offseason with an injury? Because I feel like every time this happens, and I'm not trying to sow seeds of doubt or panic or anything. I just feel like every time this happens, they have to be eased in. Yeah. It's week 5 and we're like, well, all right, he's just getting his feet under him because he missed week 1 and 2, and all of a sudden half the season's gone before they have their feet under them. So, we started when they signed him. We basically said he's got to have double-digit sacks for this to be a successful signing. And now I'm just already worried. Is he going to be out there week 1?
Yep, 100%. And something that reminds me of Bradley Chubb as well is, I think it was maybe it was George Paton earlier this offseason when talking about why he thinks Bradley Chubb is going to have a bounce-back year. He said, this is going to be the first time in a long time that he's had a full offseason of being healthy going into the regular season. It's like, okay, I'll give Bradley Chubb a little bit of benefit of the doubt. I see where you're coming from. Again, George is looking at this from an optimistic side because Bradley Chubb's under contract. So then I take that information, Ryan, and I say, let me apply that to Randy Gregory. Oh, he's not going to have a full season. And if that's so important for Bradley Chubb to have a full offseason in George Payton's mind, then I'm not trying to make this a big deal, but I have to use that logic when looking at Randy Gregory.
Can't just move the goalposts
exactly.
depending on the player.
And it's the exact same position, too.
Right.
He's not going to have an offseason at all with a new system, with a new team. So I have to say that this is going to impact him.
You know what's a little easier on the shoulder?
What?
2-point stance, baby.
Yes. Maybe that's what Nathaniel Hackett breaks out in a couple of weeks when we ask him about this.
You're always putting your hand in the ground, putting all that weight on it. It's not easy on the shoulder.
Smart. And one more thing with this, Ryan, is I don't remember.
Okay,
I'll think of it in a second.
Cool. All right, well then let's get a grade on this. I
remember.
Okay.
And this, I'll let you go first because this has something to do with the grade.
With your grade, okay. I have to say this affects the grade. It just
100%.
It simply cannot not affect the grade. You can't look away from this and just say, "Oh, I just like the player. It doesn't matter that he's injured." It definitely does matter.
Yep.
So, with that in mind, I'm gonna have to give this a C+.
Yep.
And I almost feel like I'm giving a little benefit of the doubt there just because of the George Paton effect.
Yep.
But the production isn't there, the health isn't there,
Yep.
and that was just before this.
Yep.
You could have just said that 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Production's not there, health is not there. Okay, willing to give you the benefit of the doubt because you really liked him, and hopefully he stays healthy. Well, he's not.
Right.
He's not healthy.
Right.
So he's already missing the first offseason. So I cannot put this in the B category because it's a lot of conjecture. It's just you're projecting so much in the first place. And on top of that, now he's hurt. He's missing probably the whole offseason. It cannot be in the B range for me or higher.
I completely agree. And I'm going to go C- here. So I think, is that okay if we balance out at a C for this grade?
Yep.
And one of the things that is okay about this and makes this feel better is his contract, while on the surface, 5 years, $70 million. Only 2 years of those are guaranteed. 2 years, $28 million guaranteed. So that makes it feel like, okay, we're already walking into problems with this 2 weeks into this. But it's not the end of the world. It could be, you may not get the value this year. You hope he's healthy next year, but next year could be the last year of his deal. And that's the first time that you have him have a full off season of being healthy. And you're not even guaranteed that. I'm touching wood with my foot here, but you really hope that that's something that the Broncos can have at least next year. So the contract makes it a little better, but you're still paying him $14 million a season. And you said it, Ryan. The productivity hasn't been there at elite levels. The health has not been there, and now the health isn't there right now, and that is concerning. You were hoping that he has a high upside, and right now there's just more things that are hurting him reaching that high upside.
Yeah, and on the flip side, it doesn't all have to be desperation, even though it feels that way a little bit. It could just be George Paton loved him so much, he said, you know what, I don't care.
Yeah.
Just get it fixed, and we'll get him out there. I know what the player is on the field. If we can get him out there by week 1, I'm in. And
to be fair, he was the 4th cheapest pass rusher among the top 4. He was the cheapest of the top 4. Vaughn for 20. You had Chandler Jones for 17. You had Hassan Reddick for 16. Randy Gregory comes in at 14. So you're not paying him top dollar, which again, the contract helps with this.
So you're going to get a tattoo, right? And you're looking at 4 tattoo artists. Are you going with the cheapest bid?
I am not going with the cheapest, especially if it's going to cost me $14 million.
I'm not trying to dunk on Randy Gregory. I really hope it works out. But you get what you pay for. And the production up to this point of all of those players' careers reflects it directly.
It's very true.
So I hope that this ends up being one that we look back at the end of the season and we say, I can't believe we gave that a C. This was an A+ signing.
Yep.
But at this point, there's no way I can give higher than a C.
No, I completely agree. And Ryan, you get what you pay for over at DraftKings Sportsbook because you pay $5 into your account to start your account. Then you bet those $5 on any one of the NCAA teams that's left this weekend. And if they win, you get $200 in free bets. So you actually get way more than you pay for over at DraftKings Sportsbook. And man, rolling in to NHL playoffs and NBA playoffs with the Avs and Nuggets cruising, that is where you want to have $200 in free bets to just build up your account. So head to the App Store now, download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get this offer. Deposit $5, bet on any team to win this weekend in the NCAA tournament. You'll get $200 in free bets if they win. That's code DNVR over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
You talked about the Avs and Nuggets, ramping up. No better place to watch them than down here. And that's not like me just saying that.
No.
There's legitimately no better place to watch them. You could make the argument for Ball Arena. That's about the only other place that you would say, okay, that's a comparable experience. And it just depends on how much money you want to spend.
I was going to say, beers are cheaper here,
Yeah.
and man, a packed stadium's pretty sweet.
You know, if you don't love packed stadium, like we're here because we love packed stadium.
Exactly, but a packed bar, and when I'm saying packed during playoff time, this place isn't just packed with the seats, which is what's cool about a stadium. You know, all the seats are packed, but you got people in the aisles here. There's like no room to be, which is so cool for a game.
Yep, absolutely. And this year we're actually going to set up a reaction cam, so you can see all of the reactions from the bar.
Man,
of everyone just going nuts in the playoffs.
it's kind of mean though. For that's giving serious FOMO vibes to everyone that like lives out of state or can't make it.
Yep. Well, they'll make it.
Yeah, you're right.
We'll make them make it. So come on down to the DNVR bar, hang out. Have some of our awesome food. I promised someone I would promote the dessert pretzel bites more. They're so good. AKA the Midwest Sopapillas. Pretzels, cinnamon, sugar, honey on the side. They're incredible. And, you know, I like the nachos, the wings. You really can't go wrong with anything on the menu. So come down, hang out, get some great food and drinks.
The Colorado beer is Breckenridge Brewery. Hands down the best beer made in this state, and it's the official beer of DNVR because it's the best. We give our stamp of approval to it. And Ryan, even though I think it's a little cold outside, it is certainly strawberry sky weather, and I hope it stays that way throughout the summer. And of course, when it gets a little chilly, you can dip your feet into a little avalanche ale. The Michael Porter Jr. It's perfect that Breck made 2 beers for the playoff teams here in town.
The Vanilla Porter Jr.
Yes, yeah, the Michael Porter. Yes, the Vanilla Porter Jr. That's just how much of a Nuggets beer it is. And you got to check them out. And, of course, it's seltzer season, too.
Oh, yeah.
And the Good Companies, you can't beat them. The Lemonade Good Company, so delicious. So check them out, whether you're at the bar or whether you can't make it to the bar. Go to Breck Beer's website and find the Breck Beer locator to find all the Breck beers.
All right, let's move on here throughout our grades. Where do you want to go next?
Should we let's start with Billy Turner. We talked to him yesterday, a little
Bronco
introductory
Billy.
press conference. Bronco Billy. What's he get? Do you just stick with B? Bronco Billy, grade B?
I actually think yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think yes. This is like, it's the same kind of conversation, right? It's production versus value versus health.
Yep.
He's been generally healthy.
Yeah.
You know, you can almost say no football player has a clean bill of health.
Exactly.
He has been productive. Starter in Green Bay since he left Denver, was solid here in Denver.
Very good way to put it.
And then got better.
Yep.
Went there, got a lot of money for being solid.
Yep.
And I would say, for the most part, lived up to it. He started. He wasn't a scapegoat by any means. He wasn't pointed out as a problem in the Packers offense.
No.
And so now you come into a place where the Broncos didn't want to go after any of the big people. I think a lot because they believe in Calvin Anderson. They liked Tom Compton. That was clearly a Nathaniel Hackett and
Butch
Barry. I almost called him Barry Butch.
B.
Yeah, exactly. Those guys liked Billy Turner. Those guys liked Tom Compton. And so they get their guy. You didn't overpay. It's a good deal.
Yeah, Butch Barry brought Billy Bronco back.
Boom.
To the Broncos. Yeah, and I completely agree with you. What's really interesting, Ryan, is you hit it on the head. He was solid here in Denver, got $7 million a year to go play with the Packers, played better with the Packers, and then somehow came back for $5 million. So he left the Broncos to get more money, and he came back, but he was better, and he got a cheaper deal. So I think the value is spot on. And $5 million is actually what he gets if he hits all of his incentives. So it could even be a cheaper deal. Nathaniel Hackett loves him. He loves Nathaniel Hackett. In his press conference yesterday, one of the funny things was he said, I love Nathaniel Hackett for football, but also I love everything outside of football as well. And the conversations we get into, his daughter's, Nathaniel Hackett's daughter, Billy, is his favorite player for all the other things that Billy does. And he said, and I just thought this was so interesting to show the comfortability that the two have together. He said, we can sit in silence and we're so comfortable. And so, I mean, just their comfortability with each other is incredible, but the value's really good there.
To be fair, that sounds weird. But if you're like in a relationship with someone, you have to get to a point where you can sit in silence.
Yep.
And it's not awkward.
Yep, exactly.
Like when you're really comfortable with someone, you can just sit there.
Yep.
Actually,
It's
yesterday
so true.
after the podcast, you and I sat here for like an hour.
I actually thought about that when it was happening.
And we talked like 5 times.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So there you go. It's a weird thing to say out loud, but it actually makes sense.
Yeah, it really does make a lot of sense. Now, the one thing that I don't like, and this isn't about Billy, but Ryan, how much do we want the right tackle position to be fixed for the long haul? Now, again, this isn't Billy's fault, but this kind of does play into this because this means they're not going to make another big move in free agency. They could still draft someone in the 2nd or 3rd round and have him be the future, but he's not going to be this year and the future. Billy's only on a one-year deal. So where he wants to finish his career here, there's no commitment to that by the Broncos at all. So that's just why this grade isn't an A for me. Just because, man, the Broncos need to fix this position for the long haul, and this clearly isn't that right now.
I have to admit, I'm a little bit afraid of the Massey curse. You finally got good right tackle play. And then you turned your back on him.
Yep.
And I just don't like the energy around that.
Yeah, that's very, very fair.
So crossing my fingers that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I can see the conversation in week 5 where you and I are like, why'd they mess? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why did they mess with this?
Yep. That's because he does have a B in his first name, but he doesn't have a B in his second name. Yeah.
All right, next one here. Let's go DJ Jones.
Okay. My favorite signing. I'm going A on this, and you can make an argument for an A+, but unless it's like Russell Wilson, I'm not going to just be handing out A+, and that shows how much I like this move. DJ Jones, I love Shelby Harris. DJ Jones, I think, has more of an impact on this Broncos defensive line and this Broncos defense than Shelby because just of how good he is in the run game. And then he also does provide pass rush as well. And DJ Jones, they got him for the same price as Shelby. And you do kind of factor this in. Okay, when they lost Shelby Harris for getting Russell Wilson, that left a huge hole in the defensive line, and they plugged it right away. And it cost them just the same amount of money. They didn't have to give up anything to get him. I absolutely love this signing.
You know what a DJ does?
Cut your hair?
Makes people...
Oh, no. Sorry.
Excuse me?
Well, the reason I said the reason I said that is growing up, my hair cutter throughout my whole life name was DJ.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't realize that not everyone has their own DJ.
I'm gonna need confirmation on that. The DJ makes people dance.
Yes.
And I think DJ Jones is gonna allow Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory to dance a little bit.
Wow, I like that.
He is going to eat up blocks in the middle and allow those guys to get one-on-ones, which they should win. It feels like Broncos pass rushers, it never is that easy. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Other teams, I'm like, oh yeah, they're single on Joey Bosa. They're doomed. And then they just are.
Yep. Yeah.
For some reason, it never works that way for us.
No, not since 2015, pretty much.
Right.
And you know what else DJ Jones is gonna do? He's gonna make running backs dance because Josie Jewell, he's gonna eat up blocks, and Josie Jewell is gonna be right there to get that guy. And same with the linebackers. He's gonna free up the pass rush, like you said. He's also gonna free up those linebackers to get the run.
And probably more than anything, he's gonna free up the linebackers. It just didn't work as well with my analogy.
Yeah. Your analogy was good. I totally blew it.
Hey DJ, cut that shit.
You could see someone saying that to a DJ.
Yeah, like turn off the music.
Exactly.
Yeah, like Josie Jewell is gonna eat because of this.
Yep.
So maybe a DJ feeds people as well. But
DJ's gonna do it all.
You need that. It's maybe the single most important thing for a linebacker back there is can you keep offensive linemen off of them?
Right.
It's like the number one way to stop the run is not allowing those guys get to the second level and take on Josie Jewell. Josie Jewell is going to be out size, strength, not speed, but he's going to be outmatched if they get out there. So you allow him to roam free out there, you're going to get the best version of Josie Jewell.
DJ actually may be able to feed this group as well because his dad was a chef for the Cowboys when he was growing up.
And he has his own barbecue sauce.
Yeah, boom. There you go. We're going to bring that in the bar? I saw you reach out to him.
Tweeted at him.
Yeah.
Huge missed opportunity on his part.
Wow. Yeah, we'll get him in the bar. Show him what it's about.
Right. And I think that the DJ Jones wings would go hard.
I wonder if he knows about the tradition of former Broncos or current Broncos having some great food items that slap here. Well, we got Ed's mustard. Is it mustard?
It's horseradish and mustard.
Horseradish and mustard.
You're talking about just in Denver, not at the DNVR bar.
Yes. In Denver. But no better place to start than DNVR.
Right. So you've got Ed's mustard and horseradish sauce. You've got Mark Schlereth's green chili.
Yep.
You've got TD had a line of barbecue sauces.
He did.
But there might be some friction there. TD's barbecue sauce is just okay.
Doesn't slap.
Yeah. And then
DJ, you got a huge opportunity.
Huge
to come win our
opportunity
hearts over.
to slide in and have the best barbecue sauce of Broncos.
On a slider.
Yep.
Yep.
And on our wings. Come put it on our wings.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Also, the Bronco burger here has barbecue sauce on it.
But no better place to have your sauce on.
Exactly. All right. So for me, it's an A as well.
Yep.
The value, the production, all the same in the health. It's all there.
Yep. It is all there. And let's just go to a similar guy in terms of how I view it. Kwan Williams. I think this is an A signing as well, Ryan. I'm a big fan of this signing. It's easy to want the guy that's been here, right? The Bryce Callahan, the Chris Harris Jr. It's easy to sell to the fans, too. Everyone would have been down for a Bryce Callahan, even though 2 years ago, everyone in town couldn't stand Bryce Callahan because he couldn't stay healthy. But after he shows how good he is, he's a nice guy, likable. It's like, bring him back. But George Paton did his research. He went outside, looked at everyone, and man, Kwan Williams is a dude. We talk about how the Broncos need some dogs on this defense. He can be a dog for that defense, and especially from probably the most unassuming position of having a dog. Look, Bryce Callahan wasn't a dog, and that's not a bad thing at all. I mean,
Chris Harris was, though.
Yes, he certainly was. And Kwan Williams is going to provide that with not only his ability in the slot, but he's a tackle machine. He's a guy that is way healthier than Bryce Callahan, and they got him for $2.5 million, $2.6 million per year. He's 30 years old, brings that veteran experience, is going to help out with Pat Surtain. I truly love this signing.
Does Kwan Williams lead all Broncos in career forced fumbles?
Oh, yeah.
I think so, too.
Who else would it be?
Bradley Chubb would probably be the closest. He's been pretty good in his career about getting the ball out when he gets back there. He just hasn't gotten back there all that much. So I'd be curious to see if he's close. If I were to guess, I would say that Bradley Chubb has 8 in his career.
Okay. How many? Do you know how many?
11.
Yep. Let's see right here. I'm pulling it up. And, man, does Kwan Williams... I was going to say, is he like second most in sacks on the Broncos, too?
He might.
Which is wild. Who are we? We're looking at Bradley Chubb, forced fumbles.
Career.
4.
Oh, geez.
Yep.
Okay, so he's definitely got him.
Randy Gregory.
Randy Gregory does have a knack for getting the ball out, but again, what does he have, like 17 career sacks?
Exactly. Forced fumbles, 8.
All right, there you go. I had Randy's number on Bradley.
Yep.
So Kwan Williams definitely leads the Broncos in career forced fumbles. It's my favorite thing about him. And I think while this is probably a George Paton signing, I think it's actually an Evero signing where he said, hey, look, I love the slot. I want a good coverage guy in there for sure, but I like to be aggressive with my slot corner. There's a lot of things you can do. You can think of a slot receiver. The whole point of lining up in the slot and the type of guy you put in the slot is he can go anywhere.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to defend that player because you have all the room in the world outside, all the room in the world inside, you have all the room in the world over the top. That's why, Chris Harris used to always say, like, it's the harder position to defend, and I agree with that. Obviously the outside receiver can't run a corner route from the outside.
Right.
So you can play outside leverage and kind of force them back in. And that you can think of it the same way for a slot corner. They can do anything.
Right.
They can stay in the flat to try to, jump a pass that you're dumping off to the running back. They can drop back into coverage, into a deeper zone where the quarterback, didn't notice them at the snap. And all of a sudden he's looking like, I want to throw that over route. Well, they've dropped back into it. And they can come at the quarterback. That's just a couple of the options, but you have endless options of what you can do with the nickel. And so I think what Evero was saying is, hey, I want more of a weapon in there. Kwan Williams is absolutely a weapon in there.
I love it.
I'm gonna have to go B+.
Okay.
A seems a little aggressive for me just based on age.
Yep.
But the value's there, the production is there. The only thing that's not there is just you're not getting any sort of longevity, most likely.
That's very fair. So we'll settle on an A- there. Let's go Eric Tomlinson. What do we think of the big fella at tight end? We heard all offseason, or I guess specifically after the Noah Fant trade, that the Broncos needed to bring in a tackle. And this is the guy they brought in, someone who's not going to compete at all with Alberto in terms of being the receiving tight end, but instead, honestly, another lineman, a big fullback, if you want it, is what they got with Tomlinson.
I don't know where to go with this. I'm not like excited by it in any way. It's not a bad signing by any stretch of the mind. It definitely makes sense for what you want to do. You had a hole at tight end. You went with the route instead of, doubling down on pass catchers like they did with Alberto and Noah Fant. You said, okay, let's double down. Let's split it up. We got our move tight end, aka glorified wide receiver, and now we have a true blocking tight end. C+.
Yep, and I'm right there with you. C+ as well. And the thing that I don't like about going one-dimensional with this move is Alberto is a guy that hasn't been on the field for a full season yet, and touching wood, but if you lose him, Ryan, then you don't have a threat at tight end at all. Now, that's not the worst case with this team because you have so many other weapons on it, but it is still something where you kind of wish you would have something of a threat, or your third tight end was a guy that had high upside as a receiver. So that's just why I don't love this, is he's so role specific here, but you did get a good player. And I mean, you got him for like $1 million, so you got a really good player for what his role is going to be. I just don't like that it's such a specific role when he's really your number 2.
Man, that makes you think the Broncos might have to look to that position in the draft. Hadn't really thought about that.
No.
Touch wood, but Alberto's been injury prone as well.
Yep.
And he is your only threat at the position.
Yep. You lose him, and you're just, it's going to be obvious when you're passing the ball, when you're in a run-heavy set, when you're running it.
Right. You're going to have to make some changes. Maybe you're going 3-4 wide even more. Which you don't want. You don't want to be pigeonholed in that way.
No, you certainly don't want to be.
I'd like to see them go get just an athletic freak. Just don't. I don't even care any other thing about them.
No,
just go get an athletic freak.
Alberto. That's exactly what he is.
Right. But I just mean, like, when you have a quarterback like this, you don't. Your standards change.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about like, oh, what was their production doesn't matter. Like, I'm saying, like, in the 5th round. Get some guy who came off the basketball team, caught like 5 passes and entered the NFL draft. And
what you're saying is go get Julius Thomas.
Yes.
Literally, you just described him. 5th round pick, former basketball player. He didn't light it up in college.
No. I think he did have pretty good production in college, if I remember.
At like Portland State.
Yeah. I just don't care. Go get a freak, and then if you lose Alberto, touch wood again, just put him out there and be like, just go be a matchup nightmare.
Yep.
Russ is going to put it on your back shoulder. Just jump up and grab it.
And we're not going to need you that much, but we still want to have that threat there.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Like remember like Bug Howard, big dude, former basketball player. Like, just throw it up to him.
Yep. I love that. I love that a lot. All right, let's go to, I view these guys as similar signings. Tom Compton, you get quality depth that Butch Berry likes.
One thing I just want to say about tight end, too. Trey McBride, if he's sitting there in the middle of the 2nd round, maybe the Broncos make that jump.
Woo, that would be sexy.
But that's a big difference from what I'm talking about. Yeah. This is you're getting him, and then you're going to tight end with Albert and Trey McBride and Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton.
Yep.
And then obviously you're working in Judy how you can, but like, you don't draft him in the mid-2nd round to just be depth.
And you're trading up for him as well, and that's going to be a very important pick if you trade up for him. So you're right. He's not depth. He's going to be a critical part of your offense. And, man, that would be – and that's certainly a luxury pick. That's certainly a best player available pick as well.
Speaking of luxury picks, someone in the comments asking if we can draft Connor something or other to back up McManus.
Wow. I'm going to say they absolutely don't do that.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. More likely is one of the punters. There's actually 3 like baller-ass punters in this draft. You got Stonehouse from CSU.
Yep.
You got Areza, I don't know how to pronounce it, from San Diego State. And then there's one other guy who I'm blanking on who hits bombs. So there you go. And I think the third guy had the best combine of any of them.
If they're all 3 drafted, that may be a first. 3 punters
drafted in the same draft. These guys, another one that I'm like, the Broncos never have that.
Right. Seriously.
Just a guy who hits absolute cannons.
And this is the easiest place to do it. Yep. It is weird.
They got Marquette King.
Yep.
Many stories on what went down there, but like
red wine involved.
Sitting like 44-yard punts. I'm like, what is happening here?
Yeah, exactly. So weird.
All right. Moving on here. Who are you teeing up?
Tom Compton, former San Francisco 49er offensive lineman, versatile guy, can do it all. And he's going to be in the mix at right tackle competing with Billy Turner and Calvin Anderson. He is getting paid far less than Billy Turner, though, so you got to project that he's going to be a backup. What do you think of the signing?
It's not. I can't give it like a D.
I would go C because it's average.
All right, yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah, and honestly, it's hard to grade this one, but I guess you got good value. And C isn't. I mean, maybe C plus. It's not a bad signing at all. He's a guy. Yeah, I'll go C plus.
What's hard about this is like if you give him a C plus. Hold on here. As it stands, we are ranking Eric Tomlinson as a better signing than Randy Gregory.
That's wild.
And you would be putting Tom Compton above Randy Gregory as well.
Yep, it's wild.
You're okay with that?
Because
you're gonna be able to answer to that when we get a million mentions on Twitter saying, "How is Eric Tomlinson higher graded and Tom Compton than Randy Gregory?"
If those guys were getting $14 million, they would be F signings.
Right.
And if they were supposed to be starters, they would be F signings. You know what I mean?
I just want to make sure we were aware of what was happening.
I feel like you're not okay with that. Do we change him to C's to have him be the same?
I would maybe think of like I think I gave Randy Gregory C plus. You gave it C minus.
Yep.
I don't know if you're willing to.
You want to go C plus?
I don't want to talk you out of it. I just now that we have a little more information, we started with him.
Yeah, sure. I'm fine with that.
All right, sounds good.
We'll be nice to Randy.
All right.
Tom Compton C plus. C.
It's just a C.
Just a C. Okay, well then Eric Tomlinson, is he just a C as well then?
I kind of like Eric Tomlinson.
Because he's actually going to have a role and Tom Compton may not.
Right,
okay.
He's going to probably
we can justify it like that.
This year.
Yep.
All right, last one, and this is the single most under-the-radar thing that the Broncos have done this offseason, and it's because I talked about this with you yesterday. When you're in your first 2 years and you've done something exciting, everyone loves you. As soon as you move outside of that, if you are no longer a star, you're nothing.
Yep.
And that's kind of what happened to Josie Jewell, and he was actually on his way to working himself out of that. He was finally getting credit across the fan base in the first, 3 weeks of the season?
Yep.
And unfortunately, he gets hurt, and then everyone just completely forgets about him. And really, once you have like Baron Browning out there playing, and even like Jonas Griffith out there doing exciting things, everyone's just like, all right, he's chopped liver.
Yep.
So this one's super underrated, but for me, it's gonna get a strong, solid stamped on there B.
Okay, and I like that as well. I was gonna go B plus, but I like B as well. Josie Jewell, good for him. He got paid. And I think Josie Jewell, if you got the value to him, could have been in the A minus category, but he got paid, and good for him. Now the expectations certainly go up, but you know what? He was living up to being those expectations. Now he actually needs to get there, getting $5.5 million per season. And right now, Ryan, Josie's the only starting inside linebacker on the team.
Yep.
Because Baron Browning, they've told us he's not a starting inside linebacker right now. Alex Singleton, he's getting paid $1 million. Is he really a starter?
He's not on this list.
He's not on this list. This is not a comprehensive list. We would have had a lot of guys.
All right. I would have given him a good grade. I really like Alex Singleton. I think so too.
But you're paying him $1 million.
Yeah, you're paying him $1 million. Did they walk back the Baron Browning thing a little bit yesterday? I saw Nathaniel Hackett say something along the lines of like, You just want like guys who can do more. So to me, that maybe was a walk back on his part, just a little bit. Say like we're not switching him positions. We're just trying to teach him more.
Right. Yes. That's how it was kind of presented. But it is more so that they're going to try him at outside linebacker and then potentially bring him back to inside. And we talked about it. I just don't like the back and forth there. Woo, we're both jumping here.
I felt that in my brain.
Yes.
Okay. That's it.
That's it. Now we need to give an overall grade for this. Not just these guys. You can bring the Eric Singletons, the Josh Johnsons into the world as well in this overall grade.
All right.
And this is a free agency grade, not a okay. They also
grade.
signed Cortland Sutton last year. They brought in Russell Wilson. Yes, not an offseason grade. We can do that next week. Just a free agency grade.
Okay, looking at this here, there's nothing worse than a C.
Yep.
You're getting all the way up to the A range,
Yep.
so this has to probably fall somewhere in the B range.
Bingo for B.
B for bingo. A minus, A.
Wow, we're doing math here. I'm impressed, Ryan.
I'm gonna say this is just a B free agency.
Solid B.
Yep.
I completely agree. And we talked about, we kind of compared the Broncos moves to the Chiefs moves, the Chargers moves, the Raiders moves a couple of weeks ago, and in terms of free agent stuff. And we said Broncos truly in free agency probably had the third best. So, the other guys probably get B pluses, A minuses. It's certainly better than the Chiefs and what they've done. And so I think a B fits right in there. I think the Broncos have made good additions. They've helped their depth. They've helped their starters. They got a really, really good starter, in my opinion, in DJ Jones. And then the other starter, big question mark there. So I think this grades out to, yes, they had a good free agency. Not great right now.
It is so juicy and satisfying watching Chiefs fans trying to talk themselves into Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I saw someone post like 20-plus yard catches over the last 2 years or something. Tyreek Hill, 22. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 18. And I'm like, yeah, that's the only thing that he does.
Right,
It just
right,
was one
right.
thing. And I saw a crazier stat. Don't quote me on this, but it's essentially this. Over the last couple years, Tyreek Hill has actually had the shortest time from quarterback to wide receiver's hands, meaning he gets the ball on short passes a lot more than he gets the ball on those deep passes.
Right.
And Jalen Waddle actually was like second last year in this. So
It's going to help Tua.
Right, and Tua loves to get the ball out quick, find a matchup, throw it to him.
Yep.
Everyone thinks like deep because of these fast guys.
Right.
A lot of, and I think Mike McDaniel is probably taking this just based on that stat. I bet he loves that stat.
Right.
He's saying they're fast as hell. Just get the ball in their hands as fast as you can and let them go.
They're playmakers.
Right.
So get the ball into their hands as fast as possible. And like you said, MVS, he's just a deep ball guy. And you're going to see Chiefs fans, they're going to be more on their toes and ready to attack and be defensive this year than any other year because they know that the rest of the division is right there.
How about the Tyreek Hill touchdown against the Bills? Catches a slant, runs around everyone.
It takes it, there's so many other guys that could have tackled him. It didn't matter.
Yep.
I'm happy we don't have to deal with him.
I'm super happy.
For many
And
reasons.
like Justin Simmons can cover Marquez Valdez-Scantling over the top.
Yep. He's not a once in a generation player.
No, not even close.
No.
Just a standard deep threat.
Yep, exactly. And something that's definitely once in a generation is our friends over at Lightshade Dispensary, where they've got it all. If you want to celebrate the good vibes going on in Denver, check out our friends over at Lightshade Dispensary. And if you use code DNVR, you'll get 25% off your entire purchase of non-sale items, whether you're online or in one of their 10 stores in the Denver metro area. And they have Ripple, which is a fast-acting dissolvable, and it's clinically proven to hit 2 times faster than the leading gummy, and it starts absorbing within 10 minutes, so you get that right away, and it's going to be consistent every single time. So whether you are a casual consumer or a connoisseur or a casual connoisseur, you can get it all over at Lightshade Dispensary. And again, use that code DNVR25 for 25% off.
Damn, in the comments, MVS equals Ashley Lilly without the 1,000-yard season.
Oh, yikes. Yes, man.
I wanted Ashley Lilly to be good so badly.
Yeah, me too. And actually, I said code DNVR25. It's code DNVR.
Ashley Lilly from?
Jacksonville.
School.
From what school?
What school? Yeah.
Don't know.
Hawaii. I believe.
You're pretty good with that stuff.
I'm usually good about that, but now as soon as I said it out loud, I doubted myself.
Well, we're gonna do some fact checking.
Right. Let's do the fact checking. While you're doing that, all right. Someone else agreed with me in the comments. I feel much better now.
Okay.
I feel validated. Let's get to super chats. Do we have super chats? No super chats. Man, I love the way this shirt looks on that close.
Looks so good.
Look at all those Joker faces.
As I said before the show started, it's the Joker week.
It's Joker week. Yep. By the way, now the odds-on favorite to win MVP.
Let's go over DraftKings.
Over at DraftKings, and in fact, if you go back and watch bets from 2 days ago before the straw poll was dropped, Adam dropped the scoop. He was like, "Oh, I had to submit my answers for the straw poll." Flex that he was part of it.
Yeah.
This weekend, so it's probably coming out soon. So we had that scoop, and I was like, if you believe, like I do, that Jokic is going to be in front of that straw poll, you have to get in now because it was still like plus 160.
Yep.
Now minus 125 over the course of just a day. He went from plus 160 to minus 125.
Ooh, that's a huge swing. Now you're not even getting plus money. That's great news for the bets you've placed.
Exactly.
Hawaii is correct.
Thank God.
Yes, impressive.
All right, is that it, super chats wise?
Yeah, no super chats.
Okay, cool. Let's jump into the comments on the website then.
All right, let's do that. And if you guys are tuning in live, would love if you hit us with a thumbs up on YouTube. Even if you're not tuning in live, you're watching later, a thumbs up really helps us. We would really appreciate it. Subscribe as well so you know when we're going live. And, of course, turn on alerts to really know when we're going live. We really appreciate all of that support. And if you want to get your questions read on this pod, go to thednvr.com. At the top of the page, there's a podcast tab. Click on that. Click on the Broncos one. All of our podcasts that we've ever done will pop up there. Click on the top one. Scroll to the bottom of the website, and a comment section will magically appear if you're a member, and we will read those just like we're doing right now. And first one coming in from C Duts 1285 says, "My boys, Russell Wilson's tweet: Wilson to Judy, rain or shine, Monday or night with the morning or night with the hype video put lightning in my bones, especially his son yelling touchdown Broncos, which was awesome. Hearing that for the first time of many times. Might literally
first time I've heard that in years.
Yes, that's very true. Didn't hear it last year. Yeah. Crazy enough. Might literally explode before I get to see him play one snap. Broncos at plus 1,600 on DraftKings, looking mighty fine right about now. Just saying. As always, go DNVR and go Broncos.
Love it. And Broncos at plus 1,600. That's right around where I got Jokic for MVP. I also have Russ for MVP.
Speaking of Russ for MVP, he's kind of right around those odds too, Ryan. We're going to break that down tomorrow. I can't wait.
Exciting. I'm excited to talk about what the stats would have to look like for him to be in that conversation, because quarterback stats have gotten out of hand.
They have.
So that's going to be a fun conversation tomorrow. Next one's from Ozzy Dan. Good day, boys. I'm pumped. Booked my flights after 2 years of COVID cancellations, and I'm heading to the States with the fam to see the Broncos. We arrive in LA 2 days before the opening game, so my fingers are crossed that the NFL salivates at the potential of a Russ versus Stafford opening game. Then we have 5 weeks to organize our family holiday around the Broncos. Wow, 5 weeks in the States?
Woo!
The good wife has given me total control of the itinerary,
Wow.
a decision she will regret once she sees how many NFL games we go to. Can't wait to get to Denver, and I genuinely hope I get to meet you three at either the tailgate or the bar. It would honestly be a highlight of our trip. Take care, boys. Ozzy Dan. Well, we'll definitely see you.
Absolutely. Can't wait for that. Can't wait to see how many games you get to. And, man, I'm so pumped for you, Ozzy Dan.
And how's this for a little scoop here, Zach?
Ooh.
If the Broncos were to play in London, it looks like it would be Halloween weekend. The reason being, this is courtesy from our friends across the pond.
Yeah.
The Jaguars have a college game scheduled at their stadium that weekend. In the past, that's usually the weekend that they travel to London. So if it were to happen, that's when it looks like it might happen.
I think there's going to be a lot of Broncos costumes celebrating Halloween in London.
And I looked this up. Halloween is celebrated in the UK.
Is celebrated. Okay, I love it. Man, that's going to be Halloween, Broncos, London. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I can't stop thinking about this. I need to know, so I can just start planning things. Like, I'm thinking we're there for like at least, I don't know, maybe one Friday to the following Sunday.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Like,
that sounds incredible.
Forget about Broncos practice that week. You know,
Right.
we'll just go
right.
to take over London.
Man, I
in the
cannot
nicest
wait.
of ways.
In a good, fun Broncos
Friendly way.
way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Melbourne Broncos says, my boys, so with Deontay Spencer no longer around, what are the chances KJ Hamler gets the job returning kicks? Also, I retweeted some footage of the Aussie Rules mayhem last weekend to you guys. Hope you saw it. Cheers and let's ride.
Actually, real quick, I can't stop thinking about London. Is it usually your bye week comes after it?
Yes.
Bummer. So we just stay.
Right.
After the game.
Yes.
And we can maybe like
right,
pop
because
around,
we couldn't
go
be
to
there the
Ireland or
weekend
something.
before because there'd be a Broncos game likely.
Exactly.
Right,
So
right.
unless, we probably want to be here at the studio, do our
Right.
post game show.
Right.
But then technically we could go like Monday till whenever.
Yes. Oh man, I can't wait.
Oh gosh, it's gonna be so epic. If you know anyone who owns a bar down there,
If you know anyone that knows Roger Goodell, make it happen.
make it happen.
And the good thing is, Joe Ellis really knows Roger Goodell, and he is doing his best to make it happen.
He does.
Man, that could be Joe's thing. Look, we're doing our best to get everything settled with this ownership, but can you throw me one more bone?
Right.
And that's have it be in London.
There we go.
Yep.
All right, you had started the next one. Was it from Melbourne Bronco?
We hit that one.
Okay.
Next one from Aaron Ray says, "What up, my G's? Been a while since I've commented, but I've tuned in every day. I just have a question for you guys. I wanted to know if the DNVR team will be branching out to LA and starting the podcast there. If so, I would love to apply and have an opportunity to be part of the team. I'm currently a recording engineer / producer in Hollywood. I've worked with some known names in the music industry, such as The Game,
Is this an application?
Wu-Tang Clan, yes, I think it is.
Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang Clan, Tyler the Creator, Jesse J, and more. I even have my own song out featuring The Game.
Damn.
Anyways, I have come to a point in life where I'm realizing that sports are my truest love, and I do not want to settle. If you guys are cooking up something in LA, I would love to know who to contact about applying. I appreciate your grind and stay blessed. P.S. Still can't believe we got Russ. Let's ride.
Let's ride, absolutely, and send us your song.
Yeah, we got to hear it.
want to hear it.
Yeah, with The Game.
I don't know how to say this nicely.
Uh-oh.
I just don't like LA.
Oh, because of their lack of sports fans?
It's just a weird sports town. It's
Yeah.
just a weird sports town. I feel like the Lakers get all the love.
Yep.
And then the Dodgers, a little bit behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, the Angels, I don't feel like anyone cares about. The Rams, no one cares about. And the Chargers, no one cares about.
Right.
And so that's a little bit tough. I'm not saying yes or no.
Man, I
not
can't
It's not in my immediate focus,
I
just to
can't
answer your question
see
honestly.
you focusing on covering the Lakers and the Dodgers heavily.
That's a weird thing about this life.
Yes.
But it's probably gonna happen at some point.
Right? Yeah.
I have no answer for you for now.
We got to get that song though, Aaron Ray.
I wanna hear it for
love
sure.
hearing from you.
And thank you for the interest, of course.
Absolutely. And Omaha chimes in and
Oh,
says,
gosh.
Randy
Are
Gregory.
you even allowed to say this name out loud?
We have to.
Okay.
Randy Gregory situation giving me some spooky, speaking of Halloween, Juwan James vibes.
Those are the worst vibes.
No.
In more ways
Killing
than
the
one.
vibes.
Yeah. Nowhere near that yet. Nowhere near that yet. But that's obviously the worst case scenario.
Right. It is, where you pay a guy tons of money and it gets you nothing back.
Yeah, and that was just ugly across the board. Mm-hmm. Even the Broncos, like, wiggling their way out of the contract or trying to at the end.
Yep.
It's just an ugly, gross scenario.
Yep.
And then, like, there was, like, some public questioning of his love for the game and player. Like, not only just Vic Fangio, who obviously, he has his own takes on things.
He threw him under the bus many times.
But teammates were throwing him under the bus.
Yep.
So I don't think I don't even think we'll ever see a scenario like that again.
I mean, it was honestly one of the worst signings in NFL history. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
And the good news is, if it does, it's not going to go down that route. But let's say this is a bad signing, it's only 2 years guaranteed, which is good.
Yep. It's true. We got one super chat that popped in here from Funky Puma. 2 weeks in London. See you there.
Those are the vibes I want. Some funky vibes.
And like, I don't know much about European geography, but I feel like we could like pop out and just do some quick little jaunts to other cool places.
I love it, man. This needs to happen.
A little bit tougher from London, but possible.
Okay, all right.
They're on an island, you know?
You're right, but there's other things around that island.
I mean, you can take an airplane anywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes, you can.
Are
But I feel like
are we renting a private jet? Is that what you're saying?
maybe the Broncos will let us just come with them.
Oh, yes. I'm sure they definitely won't.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure they won't either. One day though, they'll wake up to the opportunities.
They'll become woke. Yeah.
No, they'll just think we should do more things with DNVR. It makes us look cool.
They have fun, and people like them more than they like us at times. Yeah.
That's their words,
Yes,
not ours.
it is. It is. Very much is.
All right, this was great. Make sure to hit us with a thumbs up. We always appreciate that. Go to Scotland and play golf.
Oh, wow. That's on the calendar already.
See, now I can't stop thinking about it. Don't take this away from me, NFL.
If it's Jets, Jags, I think you're still going to go.
Nope. Under no circumstances. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. We're so close to 700 iTunes reviews, so hit us with one of those. Please, 5 stars. And that's going to wrap it up for us today. Of course, we'll be right back here tomorrow talking about Russell Wilson's odds and chance at potentially winning MVP or just getting into the MVP conversation.
Yep.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.